Hi DIYers, this is Frank at Alarm Grid here today with the GC3. This is the new 2GIG self-contained panel. It's a fully wireless system, self-contained. It'll have cellular communications for alarm.com on it. What I want to show you here today is how to enter and exit programming mode to enable or disable certain features, settings, even program sensors. We'll show you the details on those deeper level or specifics in programming in another video or in other videos. But for now, I just want to show you the two ways to enter programming. So the default installer code is 1561. This is the code that allows you to get into the installer toolbox. There's two ways to get to the toolbox. Generally, you want to use the 2GIG symbol on the top right, and then use the default installer code, which is 1561. That'll get you into this main menu of your installer programming, and then you can hit System Config, followed by Panel Programming. Once that launches, you're in your question-based programming here, and you can make changes to these questions. The other way to get in here, if we back all the way out to the home screen, is System Settings. So System Settings is generally used for a master user. Now, as a DIYer, the master user and installer code can get confused fairly easily. On this panel, the default master is 1111, so that's 4 ones. The default installer, like I said earlier, is 1561. So if you hit the 2GIG up top like I did before, that requires the installer code, which is 1561 by default. It will not take the master code. If you hit System Settings, because this is a different menu, you can actually use your master code here. Technically, you can use the master or the installer. You can use the 1561 as well. But once you're in this menu, you'll see it's a little bit different than the installer programming where we hit 2GIG on the top. This is designed for an end user. If you didn't install the system yourself, maybe you had a professional installer put it in. Sometimes the installer may not offer you the installer code. We don't usually do things like that here at Alarm Grid, but if that was the case, this is why the panel is designed this way. So we have users here, sounds, we can adjust date and time. We can do a lot of different things here, but if you scroll down, you'll see the installer toolbox again. Once you're in here using the master code, this is where you'd hit system configuration again, okay? And then lastly, we'll hit panel programming. In this here, we're now back into the questions, and we this time used the 1111. So the only limitation to that is if you go into System Settings using the master code, which is 1111, and then go into Installer Toolbox, it's going to prompt you for a code again. If you try the master code again or any other sub-user, you'll notice it says invalid code. That's because you cannot get into the question-based programming of the installer toolbox using any code except for the installer. So the menus are very similar, so it can be confusing. But if you get in the habit of using the 2GIG on the top right with the installer code, which by default is 1561, then it won't ask you twice. It'll just ask you that one time. Since we used the master to get into the programming earlier, when we hit the installer toolbox here, we now have to enter the 1561 or your installer code if it's been changed. If you enter the master or any other code, you won't get in. So again, now we're back in system configuration, panel programming, and now we're back in. So we can then make our adjustments here to any of our questions in programming and save. I'll show you the details on each of these questions in some other videos. And for now, we always want to back out, hitting return to system config, using the back out button here, and return back to the home screen. So that's how you enter and exit programming on your 2GIG GC3 panel. If you have any questions on programming your system, you can email us at support@alarmgrid.com, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.